With WMEA, as well as the national organization MENC, the philosophy behind both of these groups is just simply where you find a good music teacher, you'll find a good music program. And less about political advocacy and this kind of thing, although that's certainly a part of it. So when I went into it, it was all about, mentoring and creating good music teachers. Well, yeah, one of our biggest teacher training opportunities is our conference, our biennial conference. And I think it's the most comprehensive music education conference in the state. So it's where all facets of music education come under the same umbrella. And we have all different curricular areas represented. It's a huge in-service. It's 3 days. Our honor groups are connected with that. I don't know of another. I don't know of another opportunity that we would ever have to all come together as music teachers. So that conference is a big deal for us. Well, I think it's self-perpetuating. If a teacher goes back and does a better job, the kids are going to become more excited. And if the kids are excited, the parents are going to be excited. And so when it comes time to make decisions budget-wise in a school district, if you have a dynamic music program, it's less apt to be cut or bothered. So I know that one of the significant points about our conferences are people get to connect with one another. Not only just going to the sessions and the training and things, but the fact that people get to interact with one another and talk about common problems and talk about common solutions. Well, that's a very curious comment, in that one of the things that we concentrated with on my board when I was president was trying to get some of those teachers that weren't members into the association, because there are a lot that are teaching around the state that aren't members of WMEA. And I think you're going to find that many of those teachers that aren't members are in general music specialists, and there are a lot of good general music associations that do their own conferences and things like that. So yeah, we were definitely trying at that time to get more general music teachers into WMEA. In the early days, it was common to dress like a business person for the board meetings. That went away, but for the board meetings, the dressing up went away. But certainly for the conferences, we all stayed professionally dressed most of the time, I think. Yes, it still haunts me. Yes, I dressed up like General Patton and called myself General Music because we were trying to recruit more general music teachers. And I don't think I'll ever live that down. That was one of the lapses of judgment I think I had as president. I really do. We did. Oh. We did. I don't think the costume had much to do with it, but we really did emphasize trying to get some meaningful sessions and some meaningful clinicians into our conference to attract those people. We really did.
Well, you never know. Maybe the costume helped.
It may have. I just remember that when my students got a hold of that at the high school, it took up a couple of years to live that down. That photo was showing up every place that you could possibly imagine at the time. Let me answer your question this way. I'm the music coordinator for the North Shore School District. And when I moved into the office, I found a stack of old voice magazines from the 60s and 70s. And I started reading through those articles that were in this magazine. And when you suggest that the problems of music education have always been there, I can assure you that the same things we're facing now, they were facing in the 60s and 70s. So I think it's perpetual. I think, again, good music teaching, professional level music teaching, getting kids excited about music is the way that the art will advance itself. And again, I think that excited kids, foster excited parents. And so I think the more that we can do to get quality instruction out in our schools, the better music is going to fare in the next 20 years. And that's not to mention the science. I mean, the science is concrete that kids that are in music classes do better academically. And we've known that instinctively for years. Now there's hard evidence out there for that. So it's just getting kids excited, and then the parents get excited, they see the importance, and then less is apt to happen when it is time to make financial decisions about, school district and that kind of thing, funding, program, so on and so forth. The only thing I'd like to say in retrospect over my term as president is I think I was paid one of the biggest compliments I've ever received in music education, because when we were getting ready to put the board together for my biennium, I went to the best music teachers that I could possibly get, and nobody turned me down to run. And the board that I had at the time was by far one of the best, hardest working boards I'd ever seen. And I had the best of the best, and I was really fortunate. I just sit back and let these people go to work, and they really did. And I kind of missed that. We really had a good biennium. I guess the only other thing I'd say too is I think the risky part of my biennium is when we had to sign a $30,000 contract to get the Canadian brass down for our conference. We'd never tried anything like that before. And so the idea was going to be that we would charge for that one concert and hope that it would pay for, it was $30,000-$40,000 to get them down there. Well, it did. It worked out great. Not only that, the Canadian Brass went and played for all the kids at the All-State sites and played at the banquet at the end. And that kind of set a new trend for WMEA that there again made our conferences more appealing and more fun. So that was a risky thing, but it worked out very well for us. And again, it was a very determined board that stood behind that.